Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be finally finishing our rush system, or we're going to get basically close to finishing. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers, and sorry I haven't uploaded in a while, but I'm going to try my best to change that and start uploading again. But anyways, let's begin. So if you haven't already, make sure all of your set rooms are in replicated storage. And similar to what we did for the lights, we're going to add another value inside of our rooms. So we can hit the plus on room 1, and then we can insert a bool value. And then with this bool value, we could rename it by pressing F2 or right clicking and renaming it. And then we can rename this to rush. So this is going to determine whether or not rush is going to happen in this room. So we can duplicate this value and put it into our other rooms, so like room 2 or room 3. And something you can do if you have a bunch of rooms is right click on rush, press copy, and then select all of the rooms you want to put it in. Then right click on one of the rooms and you can press paste into selected. So it'll paste the rush that you copied into all of these quickly instead of manually going right click, paste, and then right click and paste. So now that we have a rush value to determine whether or not the room is going to have rush, we have to actually change that value. So in our generate room script, we're going to go down here, and similar to what we did with our dark rooms, we are going to make another random number instead for our rush. So we're going to do local rush room equals math.random. And now here you can do your chance. So I'm gonna make a low chance just so it pretty much always happens, so it's easier for me to test. So I'm gonna do like 1 in 5. So then down here, similar to what we did with dark room, we're gonna do if rush room, and then we can do less than or is less than or equal to 4 then. So if math.random picks any number that is less than or equal to, so it can be like 3, 2, or 1, or it can also be 4. If it's any of those numbers, then we're going to do new room, wait for child rush dot value equals true. So obviously if you want to increase the chances, you can increase this number. So let's say I do 25, then it's a little bit more rare for it to be less than or equal to 4. But if I change it to 4, it's basically always gonna be rush. So let's go ahead and change it back to 5. Now there is something we should do, and we want to check whether or not the room is within like the first 3 rooms that generate, because we don't want rush coming on the first door, since, well, I'll explain that once we get to that part. So we're going to check what the room number is. So we're going to do and we're going to do number of in-game rooms, and then this should be greater than 3. So this is going to check how many rooms are currently in the game. So let's say 3 rooms generated, then that 4th room will be rush, since we basically made it 100%. So if this rush room variable is less than or equal to 4, and there's more than 3 rooms, or this is like the 4th room or higher, then we're gonna allow it to become rush, if that makes sense. So now that we have our actual room set up, we actually have to make rush move, because right now he's just standing still and doesn't move at all. So something I'm going to do real quick, if we put rush into workspace, I'm going to close set rooms, and we go over here. If you want to teleport to something, like you select something, if you press F, it should teleport you to the object, so you don't have to go scrolling all the way to where it is. So right here we have rush, and I'm going to hit the plus on rush and insert a highlight. This is just going to allow me to be able to see that rush is actually moving by basically showing, or you can see it behind walls. So I'm just going to do that so I can test. You don't have to add this. This is just so I can show that it's actually moving. And make sure that the hitbox is not anchored and the hitbox is welded to rush. And if you don't know how to weld it to rush, go to model, and then right here where it says create, make sure you press on weld and then press on the hitbox and then click on rush, and that should create a weld constraint. Or you can click on hitbox, hit the plus, search up weld constraint, and then with that weld constraint you could do part 0 and then click on hitbox over here, and then part 1 and then click on rush over here, and that should also weld it. Should do the same exact thing as using create. You can pick which method you want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and put rush back in replicated storage. Now we actually have to make our doors work, or rush work. So let's go into our set rooms and let's start off with working in room 1. So in our door script, we're going to open our extra door part in our open door script. So we're going to be changing this up a little bit. First, what we should do is actually make a function, which this is going to move rush through all of our rush points that we created originally. If you remember, we created a folder with rush points in each room, and we're going to make a function that we can tell it to move through these points, and then once it's done with these points, we can run the function again to move through these points. So I'm just going to close these. Let's do local function, and let's do move rush. So first we want the actual room that the player is in. Well, actually we can just get the door in the room, so we don't need that. But let's also get tween service real quick, because if you want rush to move smoothly instead of teleport to each point, you have to tween it. So let's do local tween service equals game get service tween service. So this we can tween rush. And now we're going to have to make, so let's first off start by making our actual tween. So local, let's just put rush up here. So local rush equals game.replicated storage, wait for Todd, rush. So we're going to go into game, which is basically the explore tab, replicated storage, which is where we're in right now, and then we're going to select, or we're going to wait for something named rush to be in replicated storage, and then we're going to put that in a variable called rush. So now we can just do local new rush equals rush clone. So this is basically like taking this and putting this right here, just shortened down so we don't have to type all of this out all the time. And then this is going to duplicate this rush, so it's like right clicking it and pressing duplicate. So now we have another one that we can modify freely. So now we can actually tween our rush part. So what we can do is we're going to make a new tween. So local new tween equals tween service create. So instance is going to be our new rush, which is basically the part that you want to move. So new rush. Now tween info, so I'm actually going to lay this out like this. If you want to do something like this, once you have it like put up like this, you can just press enter and it should drop it down like that. I'm not sure if I explained that, but here we have to make a new tween info. So tween info dot new. So this is basically the information for the tween, like how long it's going to take, if it wants to take 1 second to get from point A to point B, and how you want it to like move, like do you want it to go and then bounce back or something like that. So first is the time, and what I'm going to do for the time, because we put a config inside of our rush model and we put speed, we want to actually use that speed, so we can just modify this anytime we want to make rush move faster or slower. So what we're gonna do is 1 divided by, and then we can just do rush, or let's just do new rush dot config dot speed dot value, and then times 0.01. So this is gonna be 1 and then divided by, so since right now my value is 50, it's gonna be 50 times 0.1, which should return 0.5. And then 1 divided by 0.5, it's just going to divide it in half basically, or well, a fifth, yeah. So that should give us a good speed. And now we can pick our easing style, so we can do enum.easing style. And now I'll leave a link in the description probably of how each one of these easing styles look, but personally I use quad the most, as for me it looks the nicest, but I'll leave something in the description so you can check out which one you like the most. And same thing with the easing direction, so we can do enum.easing direction. Since there's multiple styles to this, like when it's going out or in, or you can do in out, which is usually what I do. And then this fourth parameter is going to be the repeat count, how many times you want it to repeat, which we don't want it to repeat like any times, we just want it to go once and then be done. And now, do we want it to reverse? So once rush gets to that next point, do we want it to go back? Which we want it to actually go forward, so we're gonna put false. And then our last one is the delay time, so like the time in between it starting, I'm pretty sure, which we don't want any delay, we just want it to start. So that should be our tween info, so we can add a comma after that. And now we can add what we want to modify. So we're going to create a table by putting curly brackets, and now we put the name of the property we want to change, which we want to change the position property of the new rush. So we're going to do property equals vector3.new. Vector3 is basically just like the 3D position of a part, is my best way and simplest way to explain it. So here, well, actually I don't think we should do vector3 since we want it to move to a different point. So instead of doing that, we're going to make a variable which will be local current door equals, so current door is basically the door that the player is opening or touching the door on. So this should just equal script.parent.parent.parent. Since when we generate a door, we are naming it like 1, 2, 3 or whatever door number it is. If we do script.parent.parent and then .parent, we're gonna get our room, and then we can do .name, and we want to convert this to a number, so we're gonna do toNumber. So toNumber basically converts whatever string or whatever other value is in here into a number. So if I were to type 2 in a string value, so this is a string, toNumber will convert it to a, or just to number 2. And obviously if we do toString, it's just gonna change it back into number 2, like so. So we're gonna change this into a number because we just want the number. And then local previous door is going to equal current door. Let's just do -1 because that's the door that was behind this door. So let's say we were on door 5, previous door is going to show for door 4. So now what we can do is game.workspace.rooms. So we're going to get this rooms folder here, and we're going to wait for child, and we can do toString and then this previous door, so previous door. So we're turning this number. Alright, so let me explain why we changed this into a number first. It was so we could subtract it. So this would turn like number 5 into number 4, and then since we're looking for a room in here and the names are string values, we're going to change it back into a string. Since you can't perform math on a string, you can't do like 1 minus 1. That's not the same as just doing 1 minus 1 without the quotations or making it a string. So previous door is going to be current door -1, and then we're going to change it into a string over here since we're going to try and find it in rooms. And then what we can do is get the position, or actually let's go into our rush point, so dot rush points, and then we want to get the point, so let's do point, and let's actually put this into a loop. So go down a bit. Right here we're gonna do for I equals 1, and then number of game.workspace dot rooms, wait for child, toString previous door, and then dot rush points get children. So what this is doing is it's going to loop from 1 through however many rush points there is in the next door, or well, in this case the previous door, and then we'll move on to the next door. So when we loop through all of the children, we can put this tween in here, and let's say there's only one rush point. This I is going to be 1, so we can add I over here. This is going to be point, which is the starting name, and then dot dot 1, because I is equal to 1. And then we want to actually increase I, so I plus equals 1. So if there's 2 rush points, it's going to do this once, and then it's going to do point dot dot, or this is basically adding a value to the string. So we're going to add on 1, so it's going to be point 1, and then we're going to add 1 to I. It's going to repeat again, and then it's going to be point 2, since I should have increased. And so that should loop through all of the rush points in that room. And actually, something we should change just to make this a little bit better is we're going to take these variables out, and we're going to put them down here, and we're going to put in between these parentheses, we're going to do previous door, since that should be all we need. This is so, or I'll explain once we get to that part, but right here what we can do is we can call this function, so move rush, and here we want to put what previous door is. So previous door, we can just do current door -1. So this is going to basically, it's like making a variable. It's basically the same thing we had before with the variable, except we're going to put it as a parameter, so we can change it, or we can just call this multiple times and easily change it. So we can just do -2, and now we're gonna start rush 2 doors back. So once we've got that, we actually have to, since this is only going through the first room, so let's say we're in room 5, this is gonna move room or rush through move room 4. Sorry for the slip ups on my words, but say we're on room 5, this is gonna move rush through room 4, then we have to move rush through room 5, and then through room 6, since usually rush goes through the next door. So we're gonna have to do this same exact thing, except we're going to do it with previous door +1. So we can basically copy this line and paste it. If you don't know how to copy, select it, you can right click and press copy, or press Ctrl C while selecting it, and then you can go down and right click and press paste, or you can press Ctrl V and it should go right here. So we're going to do previous door +1, which should be the current door, and then we can do this one more time, except with +2, which will be the next door. Now this may not be the most effective method to do this, but we might be cleaning this up in a future video. And now something we do have to do is actually play the tween. So we're going to do a new tween, play, and we can actually put this in all of them. So let's go down here, new tween, play. Make sure you put this after our new tween variable. So let's just do new tween, play, and right here after our new rush, actually let's put new rush as a variable here as well. So new rush and then comma, so now we have 2 parameters, and then we're just going to cut this. You can do that by pressing Ctrl X or selecting it and right clicking and pressing cut, and we're going to move this down here too. So we're just going to do local new rush equals clone, and we're going to put new rush as this first parameter. This is just to make it so we can change this a little bit quicker. So now we also want to wait for this tween to finish. So what you can do is you can copy right here where we are setting our timer, or how long we want the tween to take, or how long we want rush to move from point A to point B. So we can right click this and press copy and paste it right after our new tween, or we actually have to do task.wait and then paste it. This is just going to wait this amount of time, and then we can once again copy this line and paste it after all of our new tweens. So this should add a good delay, and then this should actually be our one door finished. So now we actually have to test this door, so I'm going to go ahead, and before we add this to the rest of our rooms, I'm going to hit play, and let's just make sure there isn't any errors currently in case I missed out on anything. Let this load up. We should also check if Rush is actually in that door. So if we go into workspace, we go to rooms, and we go to room 5, which should be the first room that should be able to have it. This has one door. This has Rush set to true. So let's go ahead and see if everything's working out. And I apologize if I've been a little bit confusing this video. I just gotta get back on track. So let's go through these doors. And let's see what happens once we get to door 5, door 4, and the final door. Oh, this door we didn't actually make the script for, so it shouldn't work. Yeah. So I'm actually going to oh yeah, this door. So what is there? No property named property for object Rush. Oh, my mistake. This property is actually meant to be position. I'm not sure why I put property, but let's actually change this to position. Just change everything that says property here to position, and let's actually add a dot position to the end of these lines. Because we want it to tween to that position. So after all of our, or on our third parameter on our tweens, just add dot position to the end. And we should actually set our new Rush's position to the first point that it's ever going to be at. So new Rush dot position. So we're going to set its position, or we should set its parent, which we can actually do that down here. So let's just do new Rush dot parent equals workspace. So we're just going to, it's basically taking Rush and dragging it into workspace. So we're going to do new Rush dot position equals game dot workspace dot rooms wait for child to string previous door dot rush points, and then we're going to do dot point 1 dot position. This time we don't actually have to do brackets, point, and then adding on I. We want it to go to point 1, or the starting point, since that's the first point it's going to go to, and that's where it should be. So now I'm actually going to go into room 2, and I'm going to go into this door, go into extra door part, and I'm going to disable the script that's in there, and I'm going to duplicate the open door script in room 1 and put it into the extra door part in room 2, just to make testing a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and let this load up. Let's check our rooms and go to our 5th room and see if Rush is true, which it should be. And now let's go ahead and head over to our room. Oh, Rush points is not a valid member of, oh yeah, so something we should make sure we do is just go ahead and check. So right here, after our if player, then we're going to do if script dot parent dot parent dot parent dot rush dot value equals true, and then we can cut out all of this. So basically what we're doing is we're checking if the script's parent, which is extra door part, and then the parent of that, which is door, and then the parent of that, which should be room 1, then we find Rush right here, and we're checking if the value is true, and if it is equal to true, then we're going to make Rush happen. So I'm just going to make sure I copy this script and put it in our other open door script. Just make sure every time you edit one of these open door scripts to copy it and paste it into the second room, unless you have a locked room that we're gonna have to change up a little bit. but it should be basically the same. So let's just let this load up. So you gotta make sure that the rush is meant to be there. So let's go ahead and check room 5, the door, and it is rush. So let's go ahead and head over there. To walk over here, hit the key, and we would do a quick fix for the key staying there. It's only one line. All we have to do is remove the key from the game once the player picks it up. Let's go to room 3, room 4. Yeah, since it is a little bit of a problem, the player can kind of just get a bunch of keys. They can open the door without getting the key in the next room they enter. So let's see how this is working. So rush is just chilling there. Oh, it seems to be duplicating a few times more than it's meant to, but as you can see, it is moving through all the points, and it is, yep, so it did make it all the way over here. But as you saw, it duplicated quite a minute of times, and well, we don't want it to be doing that. So what we should do is we should destroy the door, but I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do after we do our if player, then we're gonna do script.parent.canTouch equals false. So the reason it was duplicating a bunch of times was because the player was still touching the door, so it was firing off this entire function here multiple times, which caused it to duplicate multiple times since we're cloning it right here. So if we just make it so the player can't touch that part or the door anymore, then it shouldn't duplicate, well, a bunch of times. And so here, something we should actually do is we should do +3 as well for our previous door, because we also want it to go to the next room. So I'm just gonna copy this one more time, and we're gonna paste it here, and we're just gonna do +3. And now something I'm gonna do for the wait and the task.wait is at the end, in between these two parentheses, we're gonna do -0.1, just because we don't want him to pause at the point, we want him to keep going. So let's just do -0.1, and then -0.1, and then once more -0.1. Just make sure you add that, and we'll definitely clean this up a lot more very soon, because well, clearly this isn't really the best way to do this. But right now we're just getting the functionality factor out of the way. So I'm just going to copy this once again and paste this over here. And one more thing, if you didn't notice, we weren't actually dying, which means our hitbox probably wasn't moving. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and try it one more time and see if the hitbox did really move. But if it isn't moving, then it should be a simple fix. So let's just go and check if room 5 is a rush room. Yes, it is. Just want to make sure we don't have to go to like room 40. Just make sure the process is quick. This guy's still here. So, oh, I thought it was a locked door. Door 3, door 4, and then this should be the final door. So once we go here, you can no longer touch the door. Yeah, we might have to increase that delay, but as you can see, there he goes. Oh, and he seems to come back over here. But before we pause our game, we're going to actually check on the hitbox. And as you can see, the hitbox did not actually seem to move, as it is all the way over there. Which, if it did move, it should actually kill us, as you can see, which it didn't do over there. So let's real quick fix our door. So the guy should not be going back to the start afterwards. Something we should actually do, I'm going to increase this weight here first. So I'm going to do a new tween, and then we can do cancel. This should actually stop this animation from playing and then continue on with the next one. So I'm just going to copy and paste this under each line once again. Once again, not the best method, but it slowly but surely gets the job done. And before we destroy this part, we're actually just going to do script.parent.transparency equals 1 and script.parent.canCollide equals false. So this is basically the same as destroying the part, but if we destroy the parent, then the script is going to get destroyed too. So the script won't carry out its functions of moving rush. So I'm just going to copy this one more time and put this over here. And we actually have to fix rush not moving with its hitbox, or its hitbox not moving with rush, because if you saw, if rush moved, the hitbox would stay behind, which isn't something we want. And now we should be able to anchor rush, but instead let's actually group rush. So you can either select rush and press Ctrl G, or you can go to model and press on group. But pretty sure, yeah, or you can go to home and press group, but we're not going to do that. And I'm going to actually take out the hitbox and put it in model, and then select model, and we're going to go to properties and find primary part and set the primary part to rush. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to rush, and I'm going to put this back in replicated storage. And we will have to change our script a little bit, so let's go to our open door script. And something we have to do is we have to change when we were going on new rush. We're going to do new rush dot primary part. So let's just add dot primary part to any place that we were changing rush. So which is mostly right here is when we were actually calling it, and when we were creating a tween info for new rush. And then let's add dot primary part right there. Just add it, or you could search new rush and then just a space after it. Actually, maybe don't add a space, and we can cycle through all of these, which could make it easier. I'm just gonna make it highlighted just so it's easier for me to check all of them instead of cycling through them, which should make this pretty quick. So that should be all of the primary parts added. Once again, copy this script, paste it over here, and now I'm going to hit play. This should pretty sure fix the hitbox not moving with the part. We also want to make sure that the hitbox isn't anchored, which it isn't. So let's check our rooms. Room 5, rush. Let's give this one more try. And then we just want to destroy rush after all of that is done, since we don't want him just staying there, as the player won't be able to get past him, since, well, he has a pretty large hitbox. So if we touch this door, oh, we did get an error. Position is not a valid member of workspace dot rush. Oh, as you can see, I forgot to add dot primary part up here at the start, which is my mistake. So make sure you add dot primary part to pretty much every part of the script. I accidentally pasted it again. Just hit that right there. Just gonna take this and we're gonna put it in our other script to make sure both scripts are up to date. And we're gonna go back to our game and hit the play, or hit play. So let's let this load up. Check if room 5 is a rush, except this has 2 doors and we did not make that function yet. Let's just check 6, which is rush. So this time we have to go to room 6, but it's not too far away, so we'll do it. Just keep on going. And door 3. Just gotta get the key. And carry on. So this should be the last door. See what happens. So rush starts to move, it should probably start running. But if the hitbox is actually gone or going, oh, it did not seem to finish. Point 2 is not a valid member. Alright, so we'll fix that in a moment. Let's just check on rush. The hitbox still doesn't actually seem to be moving, which is a bit unusual since it is welded to the part, but let's just see. Alright, so let's check out on this. Point 2 is not a valid member of rush points in room 7, so let's go and check room 7, and that is correct, it is not part. So let's just check this, and we're actually going to add another weld to our rush inside of the hitbox. I'm just going to duplicate this and switch these around. So part 1 will be hitbox and part 0 will be rush, or the primary part of this. And since it errored on number 7, let's check which script. On line 50, you go to here, which I should be 1. It should loop through the number of rush points. Just make sure that all this is correct. Oh, I accidentally forgot to increase to 3 right there. My apology. And let's put this in our other script. Let's hit play. Let's let this load up. And let's see. Go to our 5th room. And 6, yeah. Alright. Once again, I apologize for the mistakes and such in this video. I just have to get used to recording once again. Promise the next videos won't be as unorganized, since I did not plan this video at all. Let's just take this key, and it should be the door. Let's hope that we move, and he makes it through every point. Oh, he's doing a little bit extra. There you go, and then he stops right there, and there's another one coming. Alright, the hitbox did not move once again. Interesting. Let's see here. And in case you want rush to look how it does in the actual rush before we change anything on the scripts, since right now it's just for me it's just an image on a part, what you can do is add in a billboard GUI and then add in a image label, and then make sure that this is like, well, you can put it as always on top, the billboard GUI, if we go over here. But now you can modify this image to be whatever you want. Just put in an image ID right here. So if I do the taco, and then I can expand the size of the billboard GUI. So I could do like 5, or maybe not that big. Just do 2, or over 5, it's like a square. Just do 1.5, and then we can change this image size. So and now, well, we have a burrito, and this can be chasing us, and then you can just set this part transparency to 1 if you want. Same with this, but I'm also just gonna keep this image visible because why not. So we want to make sure this is unanchored. Oh, yeah, it doesn't have a property there. Oh, probably because I'm not selecting it. Alright, I want to make sure that you can actually touch it. It should be welded to the rush, and since we're moving rush, it should also move along with it. So I'm gonna cut the video real quick and I'll see you. Alright guys, so you don't actually have to change anything inside of our model. All we have to do is go to our open door script and remember where we had position. So let me just real quick change this back. So every place we had position in our open door script, you can press Control F to open up this panel, type in position, hit the drop down, and this is what you want to replace it with, which you want to replace it with C-frame, like so, and you want to hit this little icon right here, which should replace all of them. So you want to change the position or the coordinate frame slash C-frame of the part instead of its position, since if you change its position, it does not move all the parts in the model, meaning it will not move the hitbox. But if we change its coordinate frame or its C-frame, it will move its or the hitbox. And I'm going to change this part, the minus 0.1 to /2, which means divided by 2. So I'm just going to split the time in half, which might seem a little bit odd, but it's just going to make the animation a little bit smoother. I'm just going to go ahead and update all of the scripts, and we can go ahead and test the game. So we can check if room 5, and actually before we do test something, let me add one last thing. So if we go to our open door script, at the end of the script, what we're going to do is new rush destroy. This is just going to delete new rush. So once it's done moving, it's gone, since we don't want it to be staying at that one point, since it's basically just gonna, it's like blocking the hallway. The player's not going to be able to get past that point anymore. So we're going to copy everything once again, put it in our other script, or you can duplicate the script and replace it. We're going to hit play, and we're going to let this load. Now if we go into workspace, rooms, just going to check if room 5 works. Yep. So we are going to walk our ways over here to the 5th door. And then once we do that, we're just going to fix the keys real quick, and we will be done with the video for now. And let's just go ahead and open this door, and this should be the last door. I have the image on always on top. Make sure the image isn't on always on top, or it's gonna be here. So, oh crap, rush. As you can see, rush went through the door, and I have expired. And if you want to try it again, I'm just gonna change my humanoid speed, just so I don't have to spend so long walking. See, this door be rushed to. Oh wait, this is a locked door. Nope. While this door, uh-oh, rush is coming again. I'm running kind of fast, and then die. So that is rush. This is almost rush. We are going to go to our room 3 real quick, and we are going to go to shelf and key, give key, and then when we clone the key, we're just going to do script.parent destroy. So it should just remove this key once the player gets it. So that's it for this video. Make sure you hit file and publish or save to Roblox to make sure nothing happens or you don't lose any data. So that's it for this video. Once again, I'm sorry for a bunch of like mess ups, slip ups, and for quite the mess with the script. I will make sure to simplify this because this is not as effective as it could be. I noticed that while creating it. And in the next video, we're probably going to, or the next episode, we're going to add like, we could add a light flicker or a sound effect play when rush is there. And we're going to be able to add hiding in closets, since if we go over here to our rush and we go in our hitbox, we actually check if the player is in the closet, and if they're not, then we kill them. So we're going to be adding closets in the next video. thank you all for 1,000 subscribers, and I will try my best to upload better and more frequently. So yeah, see you.